Sights, sounds, emotions. These are the elements that draw us into the world of cinema, the magic on the screen that stirs something deep inside us. But there's one element that elevates it all: the music. The sounds that soar and crash, the melodies that linger, and the rhythms that pulse with the heartbeat of a film. Music tells stories in ways that words or visuals alone simply can't. Have you ever been completely swept up by the music in your favorite films? Maybe it made the action scenes even more thrilling or the quiet moments more profound. Maybe it moved you to tears not just because of what you saw, but because of what you felt through the music. That's the deeper connection music brings to storytelling, and that is what we are here to explore. Welcome to Lights, Camera, Music. I'm Ryan Harrison Baile, your guide on this cinematic journey. I've loved music in movies for as long as I can remember. One of my earliest memories is riding in the back seat of my mom's car on the way to preschool, listening to the Beauty and the Beast soundtrack on repeat. Even before I understood the story, the music helped me feel what the characters were going through. Today, I host a radio show about movie music, and on this podcast, I'm excited to dig even deeper into the stories behind the sounds. I've always been fascinated by the way film and music work together. A melody can enhance a character's journey, a theme can reflect the bigger idea of the story, and sometimes, without us even realizing it, music tugs at our heartstrings and shapes how we see the film itself. That is why, on Lights, Camera, Music, we explore everything from the golden age of Hollywood to modern blockbusters, the scores and songs that define cinema, from Chariots of Fire to Psycho, from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly to Jaws. Movies captivate us visually, but music reaches us in a way nothing else can. It touches the soul. It taps into our emotions, our memories, even our very sense of self. That is why, at the end of every month, I dive into the work of composers and songwriters who have given us those unforgettable melodies. But sometimes the music in a film doesn't comfort us. It doesn't swell. It doesn't guide us gently through a story. Sometimes it unsettles us. It makes us lean forward. It makes us feel like something is off, like the ground beneath the story is not quite stable. And no working director understands how to use music that way better than Paul Thomas Anderson. In his films, music doesn't just support the image, it creates tension, it creates unease, it creates a feeling you cannot quite name, but you cannot quite ignore. Which brings us to his latest film, One Battle After Another, and to one of the most fascinating creative partnerships in modern cinema, Anderson and composer Jonny Greenwood. Because Paul Thomas Anderson doesn't use music to tell us what to feel, he uses it to make you feel like something is wrong, even when you don't know why. A new film from Paul Thomas Anderson is always an event, and One Battle After Another gives you something even richer. Anderson is working with a massive studio budget, a historic novel, and a cast headlined by Leonardo DiCaprio for the first time. And musically, you've got the ongoing partnership with Jonny Greenwood, one of the most distinctive director-composer collaborations of the 21st century. Paul Thomas Anderson has a fascination with Thomas Pynchon, and it's easy to see why. Pynchon writes worlds full of paranoia, absurdity, and systems bigger than the people living inside them. In Inherent Vice, Anderson explored a kind of psychedelic stoner paranoia. Now, with One Battle After Another, the stakes are sharper, more oppressive, a world full of political tension and personal peril. Greenwood's score is crucial here. Anderson doesn't just put music under the film. He collaborates with a composer who can make the audience feel the instability and uncertainty and tension. The music is part of the architecture of the world. Jonny Greenwood has become one of the most innovative composers in modern cinema. He doesn't just write melodies, he writes textures, rhythms, patterns, and tension. In this score, you hear repetition, dissonance, and rhythmic unpredictability. He uses piano in both lyrical and percussive ways, layers strings and woodwinds to create unease, and occasionally brings in brass and electronic textures that push you off balance. The music is alive, reactive, and never static. This is music that does not tell you what to feel. It places you inside the world, and that world is chaotic, uncertain, and often dangerous. The opening track is a perfect example. It starts with a few piano notes, repeated over and over in a reflective, almost meditative state. Then, midway, a small ambient swell builds. Tension, but subtle. And by the last third, it returns to the same repeating notes, descending without resolution. This track plays 3 times in the film. The first time, Perfidia looks across the detention camp. The second, Colonel Lockjaw joins the Christmas Adventurers Club, stepping into something bigger than himself. And the third is when Willa realizes she might be Lockjaw's daughter. Her world has just expanded and become much scarier. Greenwood does not force the emotion here. He mirrors the character's perception of being part of something larger. At just a minute and a half, the next track, the French 75, is intense. Piano-driven, with rapid repeating notes on a pedal point, written in 6/8 time, it feels jagged, spiky, urgent. Greenwood's performance on piano and percussion creates structured chaos, restless, unbalanced, full of nervous energy. It does not narrate the scene, it is the scene, putting the audience in the mental state of characters racing to keep up with forces they cannot control. The next track, Bogdan Cross, brings electric manic energy. It's restless, buzzing under the surface. Critics have called this some of Greenwood's best work with Paul Thomas Anderson, and it's easy to see why. Momentum without resolution, tension without release, a perfect reflection of the film's paranoid world. Ocean Waves, my absolute favorite track on the entire score. This cue runs for nearly 25 minutes in the film during one of the most tension-filled sequences. Bob and Willa's sensei Sergio trying to escape with his immigrant friends while evading the police. Greenwood blends chaotic piano, dissonant percussion, shrill woodwind trills, and sickly sounding brass. At moments, it even feels a little Stravinsky-esque. The music is alive, unpredictable, immersive, and relentless. It's a masterclass in tension. You don't notice it at first, but gradually it becomes inseparable from the action. The audience feels every heartbeat, every misstep, every creeping danger. Finally, the score also gives us intimacy. Guitar for Willa and Trio for Willa, these two tracks are personal, character-driven cues. They contrast the broader tension cues, showing Greenwood's versatility and Anderson's intent. Music isn't just for action or suspense. It can inhabit a character's emotional world, providing depth without dialogue. When you look at PTA's career, you see a director increasingly fluent in musical storytelling. Now with Greenwood, music isn't just decoration, it's structural. The score for One Battle After Another proves this. The music doesn't just accompany the narrative, it is the narrative. Moments of tension, revelation, humor, and fear are all sculpted by the music. Greenwood writes the world, Paul Thomas Anderson directs us through it. This is the payoff of their collaboration. A director and a composer in total sync, translating Pynchon's intricate, paranoid, absurd worlds into something you can hear and feel. From the hypnotic opening piano of One Battle After Another, through the jagged energy of the French 75 and Bachton Cross, to the immersive tension of Ocean Waves, Greenwood's score doesn't just support the film, it shapes it. This is why we come back to Paul Thomas Anderson time and again. Because with the right composer, the right music, and a story that demands it, cinema can reach deep into the mind and the heart, leaving us unsettled, amazed, and profoundly moved. Thank you all for listening to this month's episode of Lights, Camera, Music. I am grateful for your continued support and enthusiasm for my show where I explore the intricate relationship between film and music. I highly encourage listeners to experience the magic of movie soundtracks, highlighting the symbiotic relationship between music and cinema. The dichotomy between visuals and sound is a timeless experience that deserves more critical analysis on why it carries so much weight and significance. My journey is more than just entertainment. I invite admiration for the composers and songwriters who create memorable melodies. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I had a blast creating it, and I look forward to bringing you more engaging content in the future. If you want to see more, please subscribe to Lights Camera Music on YouTube for free. Your subscription ensures that you never miss an exciting new episode. If you want to support more of my content, you can also check out and follow me on Instagram and Facebook to keep in touch. If you have any requests about what movies you want me to look over, you can send me an email to ryanhbaile@gmail.com. I always appreciate your investment in going on this cinematic journey with you all. Stay tuned for upcoming episodes that will continue to celebrate the magic of music in cinema. Thank you again for being a part of my community of film and music lovers, and it's incredible to see how they come together to create truly inspiring works of art. Stay tuned at the end of every month, and remember, get ready to face the music in the best way possible.